Boxing Source here real quick, and I wanted to talk about this latest news that came down in reference to the main event that was scheduled to happen tomorrow at the Bubble in Las Vegas. Yes, the MGM Grand Casino in Las Vegas. It was supposed to be the defense of the WBO Super Featherweight Championship with Jamel Herring. He was supposed to defend that title against Herring-Oquendo. And now we had news that did come down that Jamel Herring has been scratched from that card, and the fight between him and Herring-Oquendo was not happening because he tested positive for coronavirus. But here's the thing. This is not making any sense at all. Not making any sense at all. Because if y'all been following, Jamel Herring was supposed to have a defense of that title, the WBO Super Featherweight title, and it was supposed to be a couple of weeks earlier. They had everything set up for him to have that defense of that Super Featherweight title, and what ended up happening was he got tested positive for coronavirus. Right now, when he got tested positive for that for coronavirus, COVID-19 or whatever it is, they put out the report and everything like that. And that was, as of the 22nd of June. So the original scheduled bout that he was, slated to have there against Herring-Oquendo had been pushed back. Now, we, had the thing in reference to, that particular bout that was originally scheduled. And, once, that thing was postponed, then, it had to be rescheduled. And so it was going to be rescheduled for July 14th. Now, they had made that announcement on July 7th. And, with that, happening, everything was going to be ready to go. Like, Jamel Herring is a very vocal person when it comes to social media. You can see him on Twitter, you can see him on Facebook, and you can see him on Instagram and that type of thing. So he, especially on Twitter, he does comment a lot on Twitter, especially with the sport of boxing, not just with him and his fights, but with other fights as well and other news. So when he had the original scheduled bout postponed, right? He was going through the whole thing in reference to, testing and everything like that. And once that kind of like went through, he was getting ready and prepared to, have, the fight once again, because it was originally set for July 2nd. But then the COVID-19 result from Herring delayed the fight. Now, here we are once again. Here it is, July 13th. The rescheduled fight is supposed to happen July 14th, and now they have another positive test. If you see on Jamel Herring's Twitter page, he will show you the test results that he had the last time and the recent test results that were returned in reference to, what he was testing for, as far as like the first test and the second test. And he put out the tests that were from antibody tests, as far as like, him going through that first set when he was tested positive for coronavirus. He had to go through the whole, 2-week thing, clear out his system and everything like that. And then from July 3rd, pretty much the day after his original scheduled bout, he was cleared. And so you had that happen, and then now here we are almost a couple weeks later after that, and they say that he gets tested positive again. Now here's the issue, right? You have somebody with a positive test, okay, that's one thing. They're able to go through a 2-week quarantine. That's fine. Herring goes through that 2-week quarantine, and then in the test after that, it says that his test is negative. So here we are about over a week later, and they're saying like another test comes up positive. That doesn't make much sense at all. Okay? And here's the kicker to this. The fight between Jamel Herring and Jonathan Oquendo is now scrapped for tomorrow. As a result, the co-feature bout is going to be elevated to the main event. What is that co-feature bout? Let's see. Oh, it is Michaela Mayer that will be back in a fight that was originally scheduled to happen a couple weeks ago against Helen Joseph. But Michaela Mayer had tested positive for COVID-19 and her fight was scrapped. But a few days later, she went back to Colorado, had another test, and guess what? The test results were negative. So what's really going on here? What's really going down with these tests? You could go to Jamel Herring's Twitter page right now, and he says right in the beginning of his tweet, these tests are 30% inaccurate, or they're 30% off in a sense. Like, that's just crazy when you have something like that, happening when he's getting ready to have his fight. He's getting ready to make his defense of that WBO super featherweight title. And they say that he tests positive. And the first thing that he shows, and this is about an hour ago, that the tests are 30% faulty. It says on this page, here's clearly the timeline when he contracted the virus until the time that he came back negative. He even woke up today on weight, ready to go, and even took an antibody test this morning to prove that he was fine. But the commission wouldn't go through with it. Like, come on. So where does this other positive test come from? Is it a viral test? Antibody test? Nobody really puts down or gives the full information on that. Now, I know a couple of people that have been in Vegas and have taken the tests that were conducted in the bubble. Okay? So it's completely different in one sense. In something with Jamel Herring, what he's saying is completely another thing. But like I said before, you have Michaela Mayer that is now part of the main event for tomorrow against Helen Joseph, where Michaela Mayer was scrapped as part of an undercard earlier this year because she tested positive for COVID-19. And like I said, a few days later, had another test conducted and the results came back negative. So she basically stated that that was a false positive. And that is something that just does not make any sense at all. I know that we've had other people that have been in the bubble that have tested positive. They go through the whole thing with the 14-day quarantine. And then after they go through the 14-day quarantine, they're good to go. Other fights have been rescheduled. And then, the fights, go through. But now here we have this case with Jamel Herring, WBO super featherweight champion, tested positive for COVID-19 a few weeks earlier. Went through the 14-day quarantine. By July 3rd, he was basically cleared, ready to go. So they rescheduled the bout. It's supposed to be for Tuesday. And now, here we are once again, and they say, oh, he's not part of this card because he tests positive, even though Jamel Herring went through another antibody test and showed and posted the results on this page. So something's up. I don't know what's up, but something's up. That's what I got. Y'all can subscribe to the Boxing Source on YouTube. You can catch the podcast Sundays live 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. But until then, I'm out. Peace.